Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and watching this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Glad to be bringing you another, what promises to be a great show. We've got an absolute great guest on for you. I've known this gentleman for a long time. He's on top of his game and what he does, and it really affects everybody. We're going to be talking about what he does. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Ryder Cup that actually starts tomorrow. And depending on who you talk to, it's supposed to be a very close match. It's betting sites have got the Americans at 10-1. They've got the Europeans at 10-1, and so who knows? But I've got my own opinion about it. Well, in fact, I posted it on Facebook the other day. I think the Europeans are going to actually take it. But that, remains to be seen. But it's going to be an exciting event. Whistling Straits is a phenomenal venue. Some think it favors the Europeans because it's kind of a linksy type course and stuff. But you know what? Like everything, it comes down to who you're playing with, who makes the putts, and who's gets the momentum. And that's what our guest is going to talk to you about. Confidence is a thing that everybody likes to have, that you really need in your everyday life, you need in your business life, you need in your social life, and especially in your golf game. If you have the right degree of confidence in your golf game, hell, you're going to be a better player. And nobody is going to explain getting confidence better than our guest. So let me tell you a little bit about him. Dr. Bob Winters is the resident sports psychology for David Ledbetter's World Teaching Headquarters in Champions Gate, Florida, basically Orlando. Dr. Bob is an internationally known sports psychologist and author and professional speaker who brings about, 45 years of golf experience to himself. Dr. Bob, a.k.a. the Confidence Doctor, is the author of Mistake-Free Golf, First Aid for Your Golfing Brain. I love that title. The 10 Commandments of Mind Power Golf, and has co-authored a number of other top-selling books as well as audio CDs. Dr. Winters is a contributing consultant for the Golf Channel, Golf Week, and Golf International magazine, with an amazing background of having coached NC2A Division 1, 2, and 3 teams, high school and state champions, as well as British and U.S. amateur champions. He's worked with the likes of Brian Gay, Lee Westwood, Justin Rose, Michelle Wee, and Julieta Granada, happens to be a personal favorite of mine, and that's just to name a very few. With his golf backgrounds of 40-plus years as a former collegiate and touring professional, college golf coach, physical golf instructor, and sports psychologist, you can see why Dr. Bob really is as well recognized, not only here, but internationally as he is. So it's my pleasure to bring on the Confidence Doctor. Dr. Bob Winters is in the house. And how you doing, Doc?
And Dennis, this is one doctor that will make a house call, all right? And it won't cost you very much. It's great to be with you, my friend.
Well, I'm glad you're taking the time because I know that you are busy. You and I talked a little bit about the Ryder Cup the other day, and I know it's going to be an exciting event, number one. It's at a great venue, number two, but with these guys paired with each other, Dr. Bob, how important is confidence from one player to the other that you're paired with?
Well, here you have 3 days of match play competition. You have foursomes, 4 balls, and you have single matches on the final day. And one of the axioms in match play is that you give your partner confidence and you give the opponents fits. And if you can do that, you're going to actually create, some great momentum. And that's really one of the things, that I'm trying to help, all of my players understand is that, when you're playing with someone, you want to make sure that you're actually giving them, what they need. Plus,
Right.
At the same time, giving yourself some things that you need. So
Right.
it's all about, possibility thinking and creating positive momentum for you and your partner.
Yeah, totally, totally. Got to make the putt. I know you're going to make the putt. I know you're going to get it, get it up and down, that type of thing. Before we get into the mental aspects of the game, Dr. Bob, my first question is, can you be a good or even elite player without a good mental game or understanding of the mental game?
The definitive answer and the black and white answer is no. You can be a great talent, you can be a great, ball striker, you can be a great athlete, but without the mental and the emotional composure, those skills to bring everything together, you're only really firing on a few cylinders. If you were an 8-cylinder automobile without the mental game, you might only be operating on maybe 2 or 3 cylinders. So I've heard so many of my players over the years, PGA, European Tour champions, tell me, I didn't have my A game when I won this championship,
Right.
a major championship, or my first tournament, but I did have my A mental game. And so you can actually play some pretty daggone good golf, hitting it here, there, and everywhere. But if you have a strong mental game, you can actually recover and make great strides in your game. For instance, back in the early, maybe 2006, 2007, 2008, Tiger Woods was sort of hitting the ball, sort of all over the map.
Uh-huh.
But he was also great, in greens and regulation.
Yeah.
But his mental fortitude and his composure allowed him to hang in there and sort of, correct the ship, and also led him into the winner's circle many times. So
Right.
you don't have to be striking it perfect, to play great golf, but
Yeah.
you do have to have your head in the right place.
Oh, absolutely, and you pretty much see that, Bob, every week on the tournaments that are televised. That okay, I missed the green. I'm very confident I'm going to get this up and down, or I have to make this 8-footer or that type of thing. But that's well said. Are there varying degrees of confidence? And if there are, what are the differences, Dr. Bob?
There's a lot of different confidences. And so me being the confidence doctor, and I've written, a new book, soon, hopefully to be published, called The Confidence Course. So I talk all about the different types of confidences, but we have this global overall belief in confidence, which suggests I know I can do something. I
Right.
have that talent. But that confidence is also supported by physical competence, emotional competence, having this mastery, knowing that I can do something. So when we start talking about movement confidence in golf, you have to have the basic competence to be able to strike the ball, to be able to know what you're doing with your swing, so it can go accurately from point A to point B
Right.
to point C. But without that competence, you won't be confident very long. And that's the whole point. Confidence helps us create success. And if you aren't successful or have a modicum of success, you won't be confident very long. But, confidence, Dennis, quite simply, it's a multi-dimensional element. And it's comprised of a lot of successful, positive experiences. And with the belief and knowledge that you can do something, that you can actually create positive execution. But here's the point, and this is the kicker. Confidence is also the mental and the emotional strength to resist the negative influences of doubt, worry, distress, negative physical and physiological anxiety, and move towards the production of a successful execution.
Yeah.
So really, confidence is twofold. It's like a fighter. It's like a boxer. The left jab is, I believe in my talent. I'm Dennis Silvers. I believe in my talent. But the right jab and the right cross, the killer punch, that's the feeling that I'm not going to get hurt. I know everything's going to turn out okay. That's why everybody loves the feeling of confidence, because they know they can do it, but now they can say, I have the freedom to go ahead and just play the way I want to. And that's what makes confidence such a wonderful luxury in any person's golf bag, especially their mind and their body.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But is the quality or proficiency, Bob, of your game, of your golf game, proportional to your mental abilities and confidence?
I think, I've seen a lot of, 20 handicappers who really don't, play, that proficient of golf, but they believe in their talent, with, the talent commensurate, with the ability and the amount of time they have to practice.
Yeah.
So, are you asking me, is competence just, limited to the elite or the talented player? No. I mean, I have a lot of people who are unbelievably confident, all right, that they can actually do something. And maybe they don't really have the physical talent to do it, but by golly, they have the gumption to go ahead and actually, and strive for this mastery attempt to actually be successful. So, no, there's no limitation on, talent, to be confident. And confidence is something that can always be developed, enhanced, and strengthened. But what most people have, Dennis, and I think most amateurs and even, some of the developing tour professionals that I work with, they have something called conditional confidence, which is a false confidence. On the condition that if I start off, the first couple of holes,
Right.
okay, boy, everything's going to be good. But what happens if you don't start out well? Well, then they feel like their day's shot, they've damaged their round, and then
Right.
they actually go into the garbage can. So
Right.
we have to make sure that we don't have pseudo or false confidence, but that we have true, enduring confidence based on competence, success, and positive motivation.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. There have been times in discussion, Dr. Bob, that I've had as to whether or not you can work on your mental game off the golf course like you can with your swing. Is that possible? And
Oh, absolutely.
okay, how do we do that?
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of different, self-help, programs, but what we're really talking about, is really creating mental tools for your toolbox. And, one of the things that I'm always having, players do, you have to ask yourself the question of why. Why am I doing this? Why am I actually motivated to do this, to put into practice? And then you have to ask yourself the question, why not? Why not? Is it not possible for me to actually achieve this? So when you actually start thinking about, things in a very smart and productive manner, having purposeful practice, but also just sitting and taking the time to think about, I'm going to go out and hit this shot this way on this hole. I'm going to plan my strategy. I'm going to mentally rehearse and start talking to myself in a different way. And one of the things I'm always telling people when you go grocery shopping, and you're standing behind, a lot of people in front of you trying to wait, to get out and actually pay for your goods. You can develop patience right there in the grocery line.
Yeah.
Because you see, where do you practice patience? You practice patience everywhere, and it transfers directly to the golf course. So if you can practice being a little bit more road friendly, rather having the road rage, someone
Right.
just cut you off,
Right.
having a little bit more patience there
Yeah.
in line, it will help you temper those negative and angry emotions when you're on the golf course so that you respond more effectively rather than react negatively.
Yeah,
So there's a
no.
lot of different things that we can do. And they're very, very simple things, and a lot of people forget that.
Yeah, because we've had discussions with that, like I say, yeah, I've got training aids at home, or I could swing a club in my kitchen or my living room or something like that. I can actually work on the mental game. And I said, I'm sure that you can by doing things that will help you develop or, assist your mental game. Like you said, that's a perfect example. Waiting in line, developing patience, not to get angry, not to be in a hurry. And I'm guilty of that because I'll see somebody in front. I say, why don't you go to the self-checkout? Come on, man. I got a tea time in 15 minutes. Anyway.
Exactly right.
Last question before we take our first break, Dr. Bob.
Okay.
Forgetting the professionals that you work with, let's deal strictly with the amateurs. What is the commonality of problem that they come to see you for? Obviously not swing advice, even though you're capable of doing that, but the commonality of problem upstairs. What do you think that is?
The first, most common mistake I think almost all golfers have, whether you're amateur or professional, is I don't believe in my talent. I doubt myself. And when I go out and go play, I find ways to sabotage my talent. I almost talk myself out of how good I can be today. And instead of actually saying, this is what I want to do with the shot, they start talking about, well, what if this happens? And I hope I don't go there. So they
Right.
actually put their power not in the do this, but they put their power in, I don't want to go here, I don't want to do that. So they're really, they're suffering from, two different diseases. One is can'tism. It's like a cancer of can't. I can't do this, I can't do that, or I haven't done it before.
Right.
And then the don'tism. Don't go here, don't go there.
Right.
So those are two of the biggest things. If we can actually remove, can't, from a person's vocabulary and say, okay, what options do I have? Is it possible to do this? And if I can get them away from don't to this is what I'm going to do, that's a huge thing. I mean, that makes significant changes right away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take, a whole heck of a lot of time to actually change your mind. And that's really what my trademark's all about.
Yeah.
The moment you change your mind, you change your game, and that's instantaneous.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, fantastic. All right, I'll tell you what, we're going to step aside, take a short break. We come back, we have a lot more interesting discussion with our special guest, Dr. Bob Winters. Stay with us. We're back with you right after this.
When I first learned about Encore, I was a little taken back because I didn't know much about the ball. I went out and played a couple rounds with it, and I was just extremely surprised how this ball made up for what I was looking for in a golf ball 20 years ago. It's a very straight ball. It launches a little higher than other balls that I've used, which is ideal for the tour because we're playing firm and fast greens. A lot of the balls do fly very similar, but this ball reacts so much differently around the greens and inside 100 yards than any other ball I've ever played. The combination of this ball is the best ball that I've ever played.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to more of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and we're going to get back with sports psychologist and performance consultant, a.k.a. the confidence doctor, Dr. Bob Winters. And, Doc, you coach, we talked about it, you coach players from all different abilities, from top tour players to amateurs. Is your message, however, about gaining confidence in any way different dependent on who you're teaching?
I think there's different methods of transmission, but the one thing, that a lot of people ask me, do you dumb anything down? I don't dumb anything down. I give a 10 handicap, a 15 handicap, the same information I'm going to give, a PGA Tour elite player. I may not say it in the same words, but I'm going to articulate the message in a way so that he or she can understand that message. It's all about them receiving, the right message, and for them to take that and to extrapolate that message and then say, this is how I can use it, for me. And so for me, there's really not much, difference. I really try to give everybody the same great stuff, the same great message. And that is, where do you want the ball to go? I want it to go from right here right to my target. And the best way to do that is to get this, really in the right place, because as we know, action always follows thought. If this is in the right place, it's funny how that little white golf ball or yellow golf ball, whatever color you use, usually finds its way going to your target.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm sure you've run across this too. It's more so on the swing techniques, but especially with more men, I would guess that they come to you and they're really overconfident about their ability. You know, as far as I get to drive this long, I hit my 7-iron, 190 yards, that type of thing. And you find out very rapidly they can't do that. Is that more common amongst men, as I would guess it would be, as opposed to women? And women versus men, who gets the confidence thing any quicker, if that makes any sense?
Well, the professional research on this, Dennis, is quite clear, is that men, if we start comparing men to women, men tend to overstate their abilities much more, so than women.
There you go. Yep.
But as far as women go, I've always loved, women golfers, whoever they were, because they made me a better teacher, and I'll explain why. Is that when, I've had, male golfers, of all levels come to me, and they always look at me as sort of this, the guru, the man, with the answers.
Yeah.
And so whatever I say, they will take, verbatim. They'll say, okay, that's great. Just feed me that pablum. Here we go. Women, on the other hand, I don't care who it is, they will always ask me, why? The question why. It's a great, question. Why are we doing this? Why did you say that? What does this mean? Why are you making me do this drill? So you have to be able to explain, the intricacies of what this intervention is, what it's supposed to do, how it will help them, and be very, very thorough in that. And that also helps me, teach, junior golfers, boys and girls, men and women. And so, through the years, I've sort of have learned much more from people sort of teaching me how to coach them more effectively, and that's made me a better communicator.
Yeah. What you just brought up a question for me, and you hit an interesting area. At what age, and I know you work with a lot of juniors, at what age, though, do you think is an ideal age for a junior player to really start getting into the confidence game?
It's hard to define an age, but I think when you start talking, with, parents who are sort of coaching their kids in like U.S. kids tournaments and things like that, it's important for me to get, also the child and also coach the parents as well.
Right.
So a lot of times the parents, are always talking about score, results, and comparisons, and you need to beat this girl, you need to beat this boy, and that's really not where I'm going at all. In fact, I'm trying to help the parents understand is that it's about, this person, this individual. It's about helping them nurture, really their talent. And at the same time, they're sort of learning, oh, wow, I've been, sort of coaching the wrong stuff. I've been coaching everything about score, and you need to go out and have fun. And, and the reason I'm saying having fun, because I hear a lot of these kids go, well, it's not always fun because, as soon as I get in the car on the way home, mom and dad are already telling me, you need to do this, you need to do that. And so the toughest 18 holes that they have, or that not the 18 holes in the golf course that you just played that morning, it's the 18 holes they're
getting home,
over and over,
I love that.
on the drive home. So it's nice that, we can kind of create, this coaching philosophy for both your students and your parents, and at the same time, hopefully doing this is creating a parentectomy between, parent and, the performer, the child performer. And so I've had, parents who have kids who are 6, 7, 8 years old. But I think, when an individual, a youth, is mature enough, smart enough, to kind of understand, right from wrong, yes and no, and understand their options, is that when they're receptive to learn, because, little ones, they want answers, they want it right now, and I've been pretty good about that. But the main thing is teaching them, this is why you want to do certain ways. You're actually teaching critical skills thinking. You're actually helping them make decisions. And they have to make these decisions for themselves, because you'll see so many junior golfers looking over at mom and dad to see really what their response is.
Great point.
And so what I'm trying to do is, hey, It's about you getting right here and you beating the golf course,
Right.
and not trying to please mom and dad,
Dad.
grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles, or whatever, or even worrying about, are you winning? Are you losing? Is this
Right.
boy or girl? Are they beating you? So it's about them understanding the most important number in golf is one. It's the one shot you have in front of you, and being able to play your game as well as you can all day long and have a blast just doing that.
Right,
So
right.
that's really what we
So,
teach.
so you do tell the parents in so many words, even if, their son or daughter played badly and on the way home, don't tear them down. Don't kind of disrupt what I'm trying to instill in their mind. You kind of let them know that, right, Doc?
Oh, we always encourage the performance. We enrich the effort.
Yeah.
But we critique the performance. We never criticize the performer. We always want to make sure that, if they've given a great effort, but if we can have a little bit of downtime, a little bit of decompression time, to let them just sort of, let the dust settle a little
Yeah.
bit. And then they might be able to say, hey, Mom, Dad, on the 14th hole, did you see anything out there?
Yeah.
Now they're asking you, for your opinion. Now you can actually give them a critique that's both constructive
Right.
and productive, and they won't be able to put up their, ego defense
Right.
mechanism wall.
Yeah.
And then they'll appreciate those words rather than, a person, berating them.
Exactly.
Why did you do that on number 12? That was
Exactly,
ridiculous. Yeah.
exactly. No, I love that. I love that. I'm interested to see your answer with this next question, Doctor. When would you say is the most important part of a round when confidence really comes into play? Is it getting it up and down when you miss a green? Is it on the putting green, having to make a putt, having to position your tee shot on a particular hole? When would you say it's really critical, or is it during any part of the round?
That's a great question, Dennis. And you and I, we have actually kicked this thing around for
Yes,
many,
we
many
have.
years. But I'm going to give you my Dr. Bob Winter's definitive answer.
Okay.
It starts in the locker room when you look in the mirror and you're looking at that person and you look at them and you go, I'm going to be great for you today. I'm going to give you permission just to go out and have fun and play to your talent today. And whatever you do, we're going to be, a green light and everything. I'm going to get the yes on everything. That's really where confidence, I think true confidence, is really initiated. And that foundation for allowing yourself to go out and play freely, which I call emotional freedom, that's really where confidence really begins. Obviously, we all know there's important shots, and there's critical shots.
Sure.
But because you have that philosophy in place that says, you know what? I'm going to believe in myself today. Good things are going to happen. I'm going to allow myself the freedom to step in and hit this shot. And no matter what happens, hey, I'm not trying to miss a shot. I'm trying to do the very best I can. So that's all about attitude and
Right.
effort control. And if
Yep.
you can control that, then the results start to come back to you. So, that's the answer that I will give you.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great. All right, I'll tell you what, hang in there. We're going to step away again, take another short break, and come back, have a lot more with Dr. Bob Winters, and going to help you with your confidence. So stay with us. We're back right after this. Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with, and more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at EncoreGolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to EncoreGolf.com and see for yourself. Your scores will love you for it. That's ONCORE Golf.com.
One of the buzzwords happening in golf is the word lag. You hear it all the time, but what is it, and how do I get it? Lag simply is the loading of the club to help produce tons of power in your golf swing. Up until now, getting lag into your swing has been very hard. Introducing the Lag Shot, a brand new proven training aid being praised by some of the leading PGA Tour instructors across the globe. This practice aid trains your hands, arms and body how to make a powerful, efficient golf swing with an amazing amount of lag. Lag Shot is a 7-iron length club with the same loft and lie with a whippy, flexible blue shaft and a beautiful jet black club head. After you master the Lag Shot, your game will change forever with a stress-free swing, more power and more distance with lower scores every time you play. Go to lagshotgolf.com and you'll see why this truly is becoming the #1 training aid in golf. Visit lagshotgolf.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're continuing our very informative, great discussion, as always, with Dr. Bob Winters. And Doctor, I often ask top instructors or professional players what they do to get it into the house, so to speak, when their swing starts to go south. What do you tell your students when their confidence starts to go south on the golf course?
Well, it's always getting back, to the fundamentals, Dennis. And everyone has sort of 2 or 3 basic swing keys, that, really, if they're a proficient player, that, we always go back to. These are the things, these are sort of the go-to keys, the go-to swing feels, your images, cues, whatever, that you have to actually get back to. And that's why we call them fundamentals, because the first 3 letters in fundamental is fun. These are the things that we do to create fun. These are the things that we do that are basic, and these are the things that we can do. So when you're leaking a little bit of oil, what you need to do is kind of slow down.
Right.
Remind yourself, hey, I've got, a couple of these swing keys, but you need to go over before you step up on the tee, sort of rehearse those, really make some physical, what we call neural priming, really, prime the pump. Really make some great rehearsal swings and say, okay, this is really what I'm going to do on this shot. And then you have to be able to step in, and by using your routine, your pre-shot routine, understand that when you step across that truss line to step in and aim and align your ball, you're going to swing to your target with this feel. So you're swinging this feel, this movement, right down the line to your target. And that's going to get you home. And the biggest thing is, I always tell players, that if something's been working for you all day, let's don't change it. Let's continue doing the same thing. But a lot of players will go, well, I'm leaking oil. I'm kind of slipping away.
Yeah.
And so I always tell them, one of the things that you have to do, you have to make sure that you actually, have some thought stoppage. Stop, this runaway train. Take a couple deep breaths, take off your hat, take a mental time out, put a, hat back on, mental time in, and then tell yourself, okay, with this one shot, I'm going to get myself started. I'm going to get myself, this is the one shot that creates this momentum, to actually bring it home for these next 2 or 3 holes.
Yeah.
But it's got to be something that you actually say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah.
It isn't just, you just can't go through sort of what this, hit and hope and hope everything brings it home. You need to have a very specific strategy that says, this is what I'm going to do, and you do it the very best you can, and then, and when you're in the house, you post your score, and then you reflect on it, then you go out, to the practice range and sort of see if you can actually, correct it. But that's the whole point about golf, right, Dennis? He goes, there's no place to go. You can't really depend on anybody. You're psychologically and physically naked out there. So you've got to be able to, put, the wheels back on yourself. It's pretty much like being stranded out in the road. You don't have any cell service. You can't call AAA. you better be able to put, that serpentine belt on, your car, or be able to change your tires
Yeah.
because, nobody's going to be helping you out there. So that's why you have to be your own best coach, your own best sports psychologist, your best, cheerleader, and you've got to be able to do it for you because I've always said if it has to begin with me. I mean, it has to. That's really, where it's all about. If it is to be, it has to begin with me.
Yeah, absolutely correct. But you kind of touched on my next question. Everybody likes to, not everybody, but most people by far, get out to the golf course early. They'll have a cup of coffee or breakfast, whatever. They'll hit a few putts, and then they go to the range to loosen up. But Bob, what if I hit it like crap on the range? How does that help my confidence going to the first tee?
Golf is the one place, Dennis, where you can have your cake and eat it too. And it reminds me of a great story at the University of Virginia golfers when I was coaching them way back in the early 90s. And they had a chance, sit down and talk with Darren Clark. Mm-hmm. And Darren Clark was talking about his warm-up round. And he said, I went to the range, fellas. He goes, I hit a couple of wedges. I kind of shanked one, kind of topped one, hit it, laid the sod over on a couple of others. I said, give me a 7-iron. This isn't going good. He said he shanked a couple of those. Just hit it terrible. Then he hit a couple of drives, and he said, well, I tell you what, it can't get any worse than this. And he goes out to Wentworth, and he shoots, a course record then of 63 that day. So what does that tell you? Well, I mean, obviously for a great player, but, for most of us, we go to the range and we allow that warm-up mentality to be our confidence feed or our negative feed for the rest of the day. And what I'm always telling my players, if you warm up well, you've got to sit there and go, wow, today is going to be a good day. Everything is really feeling good. So you walk up to the first tee feeling cool, calm, and composed. But then if you're not hitting it well, you've got to be able to have your cake and eat it too and go, you know what? Doesn't matter. This doesn't count. Everything's going to come, together for me when I step up on the first tee.
Right.
And that's really what you have to do. And again, you have to go back to maybe one or two very basic swing keys, movement keys, that these work and hope that everything, works itself out. It doesn't always, but that's the reason why golf is golf, and it's the greatest game ever invented.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
It's sort of like Forrest Gump. It's like a box of chocolates.
Exactly.
You never know what you're going to get.
Isn't it interesting, though, Bob, that if you walked up to the first tee on any Saturday or Sunday at a public golf course, it could be a private course for that matter, and you've got 4 guys standing there on the first tee that are mid-handicappers, and they really are not into the mental game. They don't care that much about the confidence. They're out there having a good time. But if you talk to them, Bob, individually, and they'll tell you, and you ask them, what part of your game do you have the most confidence in? They'll go, oh, I'm a great putter. Oh, I'm a great chipper. Are you kidding? The best part of my game is getting off the tee. Isn't that interesting how they have the confidence to say that without really knowing what confidence is?
Well, that's the beauty of confidence, right? It kind of takes many forms. So again, that's pseudo-confidence, and they're just really lying to themselves. But then again, you have to ask them. I've seen people who have the worst putting strokes in the world. I mean, they're terrible putting strokes.
Yeah.
They jab it, cut it, block it. But if you ask them, are you a great putter? They go, I'm a great putter. And then I'll say, how do you know that? And they go, I make putts. And then everybody around will go, yeah, he or she makes putts. Yeah, they make putts. So the point of it is, usually a lot of times people, they make what they have, they make it work, and they put a lot of faith, a lot of self-belief into that one dimension.
There you go.
But I've had a lot of people, look at me, and I remember years ago, back one of my great players I've worked with and won several tournaments with him was Billy Glasson. And I remember in my first book, The Mental Art of Putting, I went up to him and I was getting some interviews from the PGA Tour there when it was at TPC there at Scottsdale. And he went on to win the Phoenix Open later that week. And I asked him, I said, what does putting confidence mean to you? And Billy is quite cerebral. He looked at me, he goes, putting confidence. Those two words don't go together for me because I don't have much putting confidence. Okay, so we talked about that, and then helped him develop a little bit of really what I thought it was, and he embraced it. Next thing you know, he starts to make these putts and goes on to win the
Yeah.
1994 Phoenix Open. And,
Yep.
and so it's just you never know what trigger the mental
Right.
psychology. Some mental tip trigger is going to really turn the trick for somebody. So it doesn't
Exactly.
have to be some huge thing, maybe just some golden key, some
Exactly.
golden nugget that they can just
Yep.
take with it and run.
Yeah, I liked Bill Glasson, strong guy, hitting a mile. Anyway, last question before I let you go. Well, second to last question. What sets you apart, Dr. Bob, from your competition? Because there are other mental coaches, psychologists out there that also try to instill confidence in their players. So what sets Bob Winters apart from those guys?
I think I'm a hybrid out here. I think I'm extremely unique. I played it at every level. I've been a college coach. I helped develop all the Nike, junior golf schools
Right.
across the nation. Did that for 30 years. And I think it's my empathy. It's my applied ability. I mean, I see things as a player. I've been there, and I've been very successful. I've been, had some tremendous failures. I've actually, stumbled coming down the stretch many times in many different competitions, but I've also closed the deal. And I think when I talk to an athlete, they understand I'm not talking to some psychoanalyst or some psychobabble.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a person who really understands the game, the nuts and bolts,
Right.
the meat and potatoes of the game. And I'm not going to sit here and ask you, well, how do you feel about that? No, we're going to talk about very specific things because my background comes from sports vision, sports medicine,
Yep.
motor learning,
Yep.
sports psychology, and then having this applied understanding of being a professional and collegiate athlete
Right.
and coach. So I have a lot of feathers, in my cap that we can actually, bring. And if I can't get you in some aspect of motor learning or motor development in your swing, I'll actually come over here and I'll look at sports vision, and we'll look at your visual system and eye integration. Or maybe even the mental thoughts with sports psychology. So
Yeah.
I think that really what separates me, the most. And I think that's the reason why David Ledbetter asked me to join him 21 years
Yeah.
ago, because he knew, that I could actually, converse and have these great conversations, these athletes, and make a connection. And
Right.
have this empathic, applied awareness, what they're going through, can we help them? So that
Yeah,
was good.
exactly. No, you are very, very well rounded. All right, last thing, you're coming out to see me. Well, not to see me. You're coming to Las Vegas next week with the family
exactly.
to play some golf, and I'm dying to see you. I hope you're looking forward to the trip.
I am really looking forward to the trip. Always coming to Las Vegas. I love, the desert, type golf
Yeah.
because you've got, the very specific, fairways.
Right.
And then you've got the whole world out there where you could actually miss it to.
Right.
So for me, it allows me to actually, really focus in, on a target. But I just love it. I love Vegas. I love, the 24 hours up all night. I love the energy of the town. Every time, I've been out there, I have great friends like you out there and several others. So I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen, my oldest brother, Bill, in about 3 years. So I'm looking
Okay.
forward to seeing him. And he plays a lot of golf.
Oh,
as
that's
I told
awesome.
you.
That's awesome.
And so we're looking forward, to getting you in and having you for supper and just sort of reminiscing and actually creating some new memories.
Oh, that will be absolutely great. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and start participating and getting their confidence game up and with books and CDs and all that stuff, how do they get a hold of you, Doc? What's the easiest way?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is to go to my website, theconfidencedoctor.com. That's it. There are information portals, contact me there. It also gives you my direct cell number. It gives you my email address, but theconfidencedoctor.com. And if you don't go there, you can go to Ledbetter,
Right.
And you'll find me there. You can actually get a hold of me there. And then if you can't get a hold of me there, you can Google me, and I'm all over the internet as well. So
Yeah,
that's
you are.
good. Hey, one thing I really wanted to say to you.
Sure.
It's so funny that we're kind of talking about this. I love the show. I love the 19th hole. A podcast for all golfers. But when I was in school and in my fraternity in college at Ball State University, my college room, we called it the 19th hole. So it's just apropos. So we come full circle, to all these
I
things.
love it.
It's always
Oh,
great
that
to be back into the 19th hole. So I
That
had some
is
great
great.
memories then, and we're creating some great memories
Yeah,
here.
we
So
are. Though
it's
that
wonderful to be with you, Dennis.
Oh, it's great to be with you, Doctor, and I look so much forward to seeing you guys next week. Really, it's going to be exciting. But anyway, thanks for coming on the show as always. Always great information, and again, we'd love to have you back on the show sooner than later.
Fantastic. Anytime, you just let me know, and I'll tell you what, always remember, Dennis, the moment you change your mind, you change your game. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Doctor. We'll see you soon. All right, Dr. Bob Winters, everybody, the Confidence Doctor. All right, we're going to step aside, take a short break, and we're going to leave you with our game improvement tip brought to you by Scratch Golf Academy, Adam Bazalgette. Fabulous teacher, the proprietor of Scratch Golf Academy. So here it is. We'll be back with you soon.
Whatever movement it does have should be resultant from other things. In other words, the turning of the top of your body should cause the hips to turn somewhat. As the hips turn, it drags and pulls the knees a bit. If they get dragged and pulled enough, it starts to raise the heel up. You see this sort of slight scissoring action there as great players turn. Depends how flexible you are, number one. So what you're looking for is some sort of a balance where you feel like, hey, I can complete a nice pivot and I can create some sort of stability and resistance down there, but not to the point where I feel stuck and I can't move properly. It's different for different players with flexibility levels. It is also different for different players that just have innately different swing styles. You get a golfer like Bobby Jones to go all the way back, had a ton of movement, lots of lower body movement, but created the torque as he started down. Some of today's players, certainly young flexible guys, create more torque in their backswing. It's just up to you, John Rahm, for instance, what you like to do. So play around with it, get away from the ball, number one. Manage your pivot till you feel like, hey, it's a nice pivot. Any movement here is reactionary to the top. Then get the club in your hands again without hitting a shot and start to benchmark in your own mind what's a good fit for you, where again, you have movement, but you have some resistance and torque. Hope this helps.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers, and a great interview with Dr. Bob Winters. He's really at the top of his field. Also, don't forget, check us out. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on If you go to heyvegastv.com, you'll see us on Roku TV. And if you get a chance to give us a like, subscribe. And I want to thank everybody. Our subscriptions have been going up and up and up. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Anyway, next week we've got a very interesting show. We're going to kind of change horses a little bit, and we're going to have a little political show with, again, one of the candidates are running for governor of the state of Nevada. So we hope you tune in for that. Anyway, keep it in the short stuff, and hope you get out and play some golf. We'll see you in the same place, same time next week. So long, everybody.